Well, be the order today, and purchase, oh,
Carlson?
Here.
Commissioner Hermes?
Here.
Commissioner Clyde?
Here.
Commissioner McKay?
Flag of the United States of America and to the republic of the nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Then, July 18th, regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners and minutes for the Personal and Finance Subcommittee meeting.
Commissioner Carlson?
Aye.
Commissioner
Aye. That item 2,
We have another one walking in here, our friend Willard.
Hey,
Good afternoon.
okay, you put the rules in place, but now you
you got
do. Hey, boss.
So right now we're recognizing welcome any comments from
Either do I would love to jump in real quick if I can. So this weekend we had the Zinnia Minor Festival in East 2, and I just wanted to stop by and thank you guys, from the bottom of my heart, and the entire committee for all of the support, all of the encouragement, all of the mentorship from Christine, part of it here is very welcome and appreciation. And then we have a certificate also. So David, Osborne and the Common Park Center, they got a certificate of recognition for the zinnias that they planted, so I want to make sure that he gets that. But just to say, we did a certificate for the Zinnia and Minor Festival Champion. Obviously, without you guys, we couldn't do any of this. And to have your entire team support us, waiting to find out what the actual numbers are, but there's no doubt that it blew last year's out of the water. Last year, Sonalita and Christine went with me to 102.3 to talk to them about moving it up. And the year before, we guessed we had about 400 people. So I was like, all right, we can't handle more than like 800. We got to take this slow. And Christine and Sonalita were like, no, we're fine. And not only are we fine, we're better. I'm sure that we topped 3,000. It was such an incredible event, and I can't thank you guys enough for letting us run with this crazy event.
Great job.
Looking forward to many, many years to come.
Thank you very much. And now this is basically.
Yeah, it sure does.
Yeah, it was great.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you, thanks for coming here.
You betcha.
Everyone's
I understand. You said thank you for letting me come back to the stand. And I just started to not already trust. Anyway, next year I will do better. I know I can't do it by myself. I would have more people working with me. But, I try to do the best I can. And since we had since we've been out there, we had one on vacation. We had a little crazy stuff going on. But I'm the face of the fire district. I had to go talk to the senior citizen building and whoever else I got to talk to. Whoever was making trouble, I had to talk to them because we're a community. And the community have to have unity. So anybody disturbing the unity of the community, I'm like to check. I'm at 76, but I feel like it's check. We calmed everything down and then come back and talk to traffic managers, things do what I had to do so we can keep our community safe. We did everything we could to bring people back to the park. And a few people at the afraid that's gonna run under my watch, so I can face them. I had come to the board and, yeah, I may have talked to, Steve, but I talked to him on the authority, but I'm a street there. Got a general, I'm a street there, I'm on the street. So, I want the kids safe. I want to be safe, I want the kids safe. So, I do the best I can. I understand, next year I can do better. I hope I be able to come back next year. I bring a team, I won't do it by myself. Thank you.
Thank you, you can be a big asset to the community of the property you do. Thank
I really mean burger too. I used to do my staff over. Are you done for the year? You're not done. Are you end of the month? Or?
No, I ain't done. I'm done for the day, but I ain't done.
I gotta stop by and get something. Right?
I came right over, I stayed a little late, make sure I look at me. Make sure I know things. I do better. I can do better. I got a late start. I really went to start right this year because I didn't start in July. I had good in my ice cream. I did that stuff I didn't have this year because of construction, right? I can do that. I have a team. I'm going to try to do it by myself. So I can't do it. That's it.
How long will you be open this season? When does the season end?
It'll be in September sometime. And once the weather stays warm, I ain't doing that. I just get that to the weather, we don't have no heat, so when the weather cold, my license with the health department, that's in 2025, that's got that in September.
Thank you. Thank you.
I came, and report to everybody. I want the board to know. That's it.
I've heard none of the good things. I appreciate all your efforts.
Thank you.
Keep Laura. There's no more, yet. We'll go to item number 4, approval of the agenda.
Yep, no changes to the agenda.
Second.
Mr. Carlson?
Aye.
Aye. Have any commissioner comments?
I have no trouble. I can hear almost every concert. Other concerts was great. The crowds. And when good to see the light concert, the light show was unbelievable awesome. I never seen that crowd that big. The light show was good. And I attended golf for youth that Friday. I guess at youth staff. Yeah. That was a fun day.
Thanks, I'll let him know.
I don't know if it's a new guy or not, but I'm getting unsolicited praise from people. They walk up and say, "You're on that board." I got lots. I didn't do any of it. They're very impressed. People were talking about it. They told me that nice to have government do it for you. You guys weren't terribly kind to some other departments, but they did the departments so much. And they appreciated that. And, Anna Crespo, all the different things. But everybody wants to let me know, so I wanted to let you guys know. Again, just I know I said it last month. But, nice to be getting that kind of attention. That kind of, good job to you guys.
Are we going to do anything for more recognition for the signage, as well as distribution that they do on
Yeah, we do have that laser light show video. Have I texted it to the board yet?
you must have, I saw it.
Okay, yeah, and it is posted on our website, on our Facebook. I'll send it to you, Jess. Yeah, I think in addition to just kind of like branding all our parks and coming up with a consistent brand on our signage and everything like that. I mean, Christine works really hard. I think she does a great job on, trying to spread the message, via Facebook, flyers, posters, print material, everything that we do. It's just one of, many responsibilities that she has. But if you're having other suggestions or any other methods,
I'll get we got some. Otherwise, not just to sign it.
Yeah.
Probably roll up and all.
yeah, and we'll release press releases and Christine will contact, local newspaper. I think what was great was last Christmas, our Christmas celebration on the front page of the New Sun.
That's
Which
all.
was, huge for the Park District and just the community in general.
Well, in addition to that too, we also partner with nice event as well as additional power. Another of those.
But yeah, I'm trying to find ways to get more attention to the Park District.
Yeah.
I'm glad it is.
If we had a, go ahead, Jason.
A week early? I don't think so.
Oh, we have.
We have another movement. Comments, we want to reports, attorney's report,
No report from the attorney.
treasury report.
Yeah, so we have, expenditures for the month of July in the amount of $857,516.81 for approval.
Motion to approve $7,516.
Motion been made to approve treasurer's.
Carlson?
Aye.
And because that does the treasurer's report, to get the director's report.
Yeah, so just to highlight some of the things in my report that I had submitted, our busy summer season has kind of come to an end with the start of school. So our lifeguards are returned back to college and high school, so our pool is closed. Summer day camp has ended. Many of our day camp counselors have returned back to school as well, but both of those activities I think were great this summer. Served a lot of the community in our day camps and a lot of patrons at our pool. Just really happy to report that we didn't have any incidents at the pool. Another safe summer, which is great. I do have in there the operational audit because I want to give the board an example of the audit that our young guards go through. They are observed unknowingly 3 times throughout the season by the audit firm Ellis, which is just auditing their operations and how they're doing their duties. And for the first audit, they received a meets, and then in the next 2 audits, they received an exceeds. So I think that's a testament to Kay and our aquatic supervisor to work with that young staff and to get them to improve throughout the summer. So again, with receiving just first the meets and then the next 2 times the exceeds, it shows that they're training. They're continually training and learning. And we will bring guards back. Hopefully we'd love to have the guards back, the ones that are willing to. But out of 30 plus guards or so, a lot of those individuals are new and they're young people, and so they're learning.
The audit, is that a written report that we received?
Yeah, that is of the larger report, and you can see there's kind of a little snapshot picture of each of the guards that they evaluated during that time, and then they talk about, what the guard did. So I just want to give the board a sense of, like what that auditor's report looks like.
Difficult to get full staffing every year. And kind of reached,
After COVID, it was very difficult. Probably overstepped.
We're supposed to
Have that
pull out.
problem.
That's not that we are supposed to pull out.
Yeah, in 2021,
Right.
we reduced hours and changed things around. 2022, we were still pretty light. Last year, we were okay, and this year we were
Yeah, we're starting.
Yeah, she does a great job with it. It really is a difficult and very time-consuming responsibility, for her during this summer. Right, and a very stressful responsibility. Yeah. So she's very experienced at it and really does a good job with it.
That's it.
Yeah. And I think Rich, and obviously Rich and his crew are out there maintaining the pool's infrastructure and testing the chlorine and the water levels and everything like that. So, they do a tremendous job too with that old infrastructure.
Maybe I like that, the detail. The job done, but they want you I find another job inside the park.
Yeah, some of them that don't go away to school, they still go to high school, will move over to in-person lessons to teach guard, because we still require guards at the high school. The high school doesn't pay the guards. And then a few of them we absorbed, will absorb either through maintenance last year, shepherds. So a lot of them go away to school. So we try to give them more hours as we can, and then the special events. So they'll help at like the trailer treat, help at help at the Christmas programs. We try to utilize them.
Good.
Just some of the other notable things that happened throughout the summer, as we've talked about. I think the concert series was great, right? Christine works incredibly hard on that, planning it and evaluating bands and bringing in a good variety of genres and different bands and stuff like that that appeal to our whole community, the diversity in our community. I think attendance out there is continually growing, and as Doug said, I think the word's spreading.
That's our team.
Right. Our community was able to enjoy 3 newly renovated playgrounds this summer, with Jordan Park, being the first renovation that was opened early in the cold weather this spring. Olivet Park, which was recently opened out in Cheryl's subdivision of Harbor Ridge, and Shiloh Park Playground, which is also open. Now, although construction activity, continues on in our parks and our open spaces and our facilities, I think they're all in great shape. They've been well maintained. Rich does a tremendous job leading his crew, and not only maintaining all the facilities and open spaces that we have, but also just supporting all the different events that we have, right? And making sure the people that come to the playgrounds or come to the concerts or whatever it is have an enjoyable experience. And so they're a very important part of the operation that sometimes I think gets overlooked. Certainly not overlooked by any of us, because we know how much they do and how hard they work and what a great job Rich does leading them. But everything here truly is a team effort at the Park District. We have a small team. Everyone has multiple responsibilities. Everyone's been working really hard. Our rangers, our rangers are consistently out in the parks, just being a welcoming and familiar face to help people and provide assistance. Chad does a great job with them, and he's got a good crew of part-time rangers. Chad is obviously our chief of rangers, and Jose is our other full-time ranger. But they do a great job of, assisting patrons and documenting incidents or and just being a welcoming presence in the park. Our golf courses continue to provide golfers with some of the best conditions, I think, in Lake County, probably Northern Illinois. They have both an 18-hole championship-style golf course and a 9-hole golf course right in the center of town, with some of the best greens and some of the best conditions that you're going to find. I think that's a tremendous value too. So, they'll obviously continue to be open through the fall. We've got, still a lot of hard work ahead. But again, at less than 7% of our residents' tax bill, I'm really proud of our team at the Park District and the outstanding value that we provide, to the community. And we greatly appreciate the board's support. I also wanted to mention too quickly the Labor Day Parade and the Mayor's Prayer Breakfast that's coming up. City Councilman McDowell has invited the park board to attend that prayer breakfast in the morning. And then we're going to Christine's coordinating golf carts for the commissioners, similar to what was done last year to be in the parade. So if you'd like to attend the breakfast and partake in the parade, riding on a golf cart and throwing out candy, please let me know. That coordinated. For both? Would you?
Yes.
Both? Okay.
Fortunately, I'll be out of town.
Oh, you'll be out of town? Okay.
I know it's a golf cart.
Yeah. Jesse, you're in for the parade? Okay, parade only, and I'll follow up with Cheryl and Carolyn. And what else? I was going to talk here a little bit about, I hope everyone had a chance to read on the last page of the packet about Shiloh Park Playground. Again, just the feedback has been overwhelmingly positive. And I thought Christine, she had a nice press release that was written that really recognizes, the thoughtful and the evidence-based design of Shiloh Park Playground. Our accounting manager, Esme Taylor, picked out a lot of the equipment out there and put together the design, which has been great. Let me just get the word right. So it's a national demonstration site, and it illustrates, the contribution to support both health and wellness in our community. It's one of the only playgrounds in Lake County that has the designation of Play On and an inclusive playground. So there's a map if you go on Playcorps' website and look at some of the different Playcorps playgrounds. Ours is one of the only ones that have both of those designations.
There's real time benefits
Oh, that's great. I hope you've been out there using it a lot.
Yep. Good.
Great, that's great to hear. And just to finish up on my report, which transitions into our guest from Goodwin-Magiera, an update on David Park construction. So a lot of demolition has happened, a lot of earthwork is happening out there at David Park. A lot of the excavating of the field area, the light poles are down, the parking lot's demoed. We're doing some soil tests. There's, a lot going on right now as we, are into the project, ramping up the project. So we do have a couple concerns about, some of the soil in regards to the soccer field, most immediately. Because we want that to be a high quality soccer field, right? We have open areas around the park district where people can play soccer. But we also want to be sure that we have the right subgrade and soil and everything necessary to grow, good grass and have a good field, with correct, irrigation and drainage and everything like that. So that's a lot of the construction meetings that we're working on and working through right now. I want to provide an update on the entry-exit point to the park. So I do have a picture of the master plan here to kind of help you visualize David Park. If you look at PDF page 56, you see that picture there of the master plan. And so We have the single entrance, which was the existing entrance on the west side of the park. And at some point, probably over a year ago or so, there was an interest expressed about putting an additional entrance on the east side, right? And so we've done a lot of due diligence in regards to working with our engineer and Lake County Department of Transportation. Had a lot of communication going back and forth as to what that would take and some of the difficulties. At this point, from a cost standpoint, it's just not an effective. I would not recommend it as an effective, avenue to pursue, because Lake County DOT is going to make us do potentially all kind of changes on Route 21 there that runs east-west. Make us add turn lanes and do a lot of other road infrastructure changes. So we've kind of stopped our inquiries in regards to that. And, we'll monitor the traffic patterns based on the park's usage in the upcoming years, right? We're hoping that it's not going to be a significant bottleneck for traffic coming in and out. That lot, I believe, has parking capacity for about 150 spaces, maybe 155. Yeah. So hopefully it's not, but I do want to let the board know that we did a lot of inquiries and put a lot of thought around even expanding that to have 2 exits on that west side where you could turn either east or west to go out. That still opened up all kind of questions with Lake County DOT. They wanted to do a traffic study and things like that. And said, if you do go down this route, it may force you to have to put in turn lanes, regardless of what your decision is. So we kind of stopped at that point, not trying to get ourselves backed into a corner or open any kind of Pandora's box with Lake County DOT. And so, as another update, so the park includes the skate park, right? Which, if you're looking at the master plan there, yeah.
I got one question. On the high school side, where does on land end?
Where does our land end?
Yes. You're talking about the parking lot.
Oh, well, I mean, if you're looking at that master plan there, Jess, and as you see on the left side, which is the west side, there's some bushes and some other area. I mean, that's still, everything that you're looking at here on this page is our property. And even all of that west side is going to be detention area, which is required by Lake County Stormwater Management. So the high school's property doesn't start until, there's a decent gap. Even in the future, Jess, even if you're looking down the road, Scott could probably speak this better, but I would say that we probably can't because we have to have so much area of open space for, according to Lake County Stormwater Management, for runoff and for water.
And if you increase your impervious surface, you have to increase your stormwater retention.
So we're kind of
if you're going to expand it, then you got to expand your stormwater retention.
Yeah. So I think we have a good plan here to maximize the space given some of those constraints and things.
Let's talk about wetlands. Is that certified wetlands area? Design. So it's certified. This will be hard.
Yeah, Lake County Stormwater Management is, they're great to work with, but they've got a lot of specifics. Yeah. So on the skate park that you can see there, which is just, above the basketball court to the right of the parking lot, as an update on that and where we're at, we are going to propose to the Illinois Department of Natural Resources to do an amenity swap. So in the grant submission that we provided to the Illinois Department of Natural Resources, the skate park was in the grant. And we did that because the more different amenities that we put in the grant, the more points we get, and the higher likelihood we get the grant. But there's only there's not a lot of qualified vendors that can build that kind of skate park that we're looking for, which is kind of like an all concrete park with, the goals and the ramps and everything like that, which I think you guys have seen the designs for in the past, right? That we brought the conceptual designs. So we're looking to do or apply for an amenities swap with IDNR to see if they will, let us swap that out because we're having such a difficult time finding a contractor because the couple that we're aware of are already booked. They're booked well through this year and through 2025. So if we can swap the amenities out, because when we submitted our grant, we didn't say that we were going to build 2 basketball courts, 2 soccer fields. We just kind of had to build it in. And so if they allow us to swap that out, we will push that portion of the project into 2026 when these contractors are available. The one that we specifically would really like to utilize is called Evergreen Skate Parks out of Oregon. Rich and I went to Vernon Hills. They had built Vernon Hills skate park. And 5 years later, it's still in fantastic condition for an all-country sport. It would only be a little bit larger than what we're built, so it was a good comparison to look at and get a reference on that.
So stop out on the year, not so much the project itself.
Well, right, correct. Not on the project itself, but the grant has a timeline for
Right.
when it needs to be completed by. So what we'll ask IDNR is, okay, we'll complete the project by this time period if you allow us to do these amenities. Right, and the skate park will kind of take that out of the grant. We won't take it out of the project, but we'll take it out of the grant.
So what always substitute.
So the thought will be to ask them, like, if, again, we've asked to build just 1 soccer field and 1 basketball court was what we submitted in the grant, we would say, but now we're building 2 basketball courts. We're building 2 soccer fields. Or if they don't allow us to do that, we come up with another idea too. That's what Hitchcock Design is helping us to, because they're very familiar with grant writing. That's what they're helping us draft that letter to IDNR on the amenities swapping to see what they would say. So that's kind of the update at this point on David Park. Uh-huh.
Every 2 years, we get them back, get another grant for the skate park.
No, we won't because we've got that budgeted now. We got the skate park in the budget, and we could though. I mean, we could just.
But we using the money for another soccer field and another basketball court.
Yes and no, because the grant is about $600,000, and so we're required to match that $600,000. The total project budget is over $3 million, so we will easily match and exceed our required amount. And we do have that skate park money budgeted, in that budget. It would just be to just kind of keep that money in the bank a little longer and push it off until that vendor's available.
So the best 100% funding.
No,
It's a match.
yeah, it's not 100%.
So our match is where this money being withdrawn.
Yeah, exactly. So that's really it for my report. We can move to agenda item number 9 and go through for introduction.
I'll do it.
Okay. So this is Scott Gonke from Goodwin-Hamilton. So Goodwin-Hamilton is a full-service consulting engineering firm that's highly reputable. Rich and I, our park district in general has worked with Goodwin in prior years. One of the projects or one of the analysis was the mitigation of the Shiloh Center, which that is really still in the works. I think that's a FEMA grant that is just very slow, but the Walt did the analysis of the flood mitigation for that grant. And over the past 8 months or so, Rich and I have gotten to know Scott really well, I think, through just networking, relationship building, having lunch with him, talking to him about his firm, and then kind of quickly realized that, he's someone who's very knowledgeable. He has 40 plus years experience in the industry, in all different capacities of construction management and building sports fields, and really just a wealth of information, and a good guy, right? I'd say that if he wasn't here. But the David Park project, is a complex project, and it's, as far as size and scope in comparison to Shiloh Park, it's, significantly larger. And I think Rich and I, through the construction of Shiloh Park, really realized and kind of came to the conclusion that as we go into the David Park project, we need help with the construction management, with the oversight of the contractors, subcontractors, and everything else that's going on. I think we both, Rich more so, I will say really Rich more so, ran himself ragged this summer over at Shiloh Park trying to catch the contractors and, stop some of the things that were happening as far as like, hey, the plan calls for those fence posts to be put into concrete on the corners and on the gates and everything like that. You're not doing that, right? And just catching other things that are going on, that pipe is backfished and things like that. But this scope is much larger. And we really, feel strongly that, to bring in Scott as like an owner's representative, to represent our interests and oversee, a lot of these things, would be extremely beneficial. So, we've been consulting with him, bouncing questions off of him for the last few weeks, but really just I asked him to come to the meeting tonight to talk with the board, explain his experience, his expertise, take any questions. And we would like to have the board approve a professional services agreement, for his time, similar to, a consultant or an attorney, something like that. But he can't really come up with an accurate estimate of his time at this point because we don't have a real detailed and great schedule from our contractor, despite asking them, because of some of the different things that are moving pieces out there. So I unfortunately don't have his services proposal for you right now, but Scott and I have been talking about it. He'll work on it also with one of the partners of the firm, so as soon as it's available, I'll send it out to the board for approval. But absent that, I still thought it was beneficial to have Scott.
It was a one question I had in mind was position or also keep everything on track on the calendar. So
So I'll turn it over to Scott now and let him speak a little bit.
How you doing?
Good.
Thank you for this opportunity to come in and speak with you tonight. So as Eric had said, I have 40 plus years in facility and grounds maintenance. I started at the park district level. I worked at a high school, a college. I served some time working at Wrigley Field and Bears practice facility as well. I am a founding member of the Illinois Association, Illinois Sports Turf Managers Association. And I sat on that board for several years and sat as president for probably 7. So I've been networking in the sports field area for over 40 years. I retired from the public arena 2 years ago, and Gable Hamilton approached me and said, hey, we could really use your expertise. Would you consider coming and working for us? So my wife is 5 years behind me of being able to retire. So I figured I might as well do something, or I'd end up cleaning the house every day. So I took 30 days off to see what retirement was like, and then I started work with Gable Hamilton, and I've been there almost 2 years now, and worked on some great projects, including, I was telling Eric and Rich, last year at this time I was working for Wilmette Park District on a very large park project that had difficulties getting the turf to grow, and Gable Hamilton said, we're at the point where we really need to put you into this project. And so my job was to work with a contractor similar to what you have at David Park. Not a lot of experience working on athletic fields, right? So my job basically is to be a very strong advocate for the client and use my expertise to provide them the product that they're paying for. And when it's done and Rich has to maintain it, he knows that it's proper and he won't have any problems. So I know drainage very well. I know soils very well. My last superintendent called me a bulldog when I came to construction because I'm not there to be the contractor's friends. I'm there to make it right for the taxpayers and the community. And that's what I do.
So the only question I have is, a little bit of right now, you should introduce it.
Yeah, we do not
That's
have,
all we have to stop.
correct.
Can we say
No, there's really nothing, unfortunately, to formally approve tonight. But when Scott does have his proposal, I'll email that out. And I wanted you to have the background, before it, because the project is moving along right now relatively rapidly. I wanted, to not wait until the September meeting.
And then overall, like you have like some of the project manager.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
They are-
it will, Rich takes care of more than just David Park, right? So he doesn't have the time to be there and babysit the contractor. Right? And sometimes that's what you need. You just need to make sure that all the different major phases, like Eric was talking about the soil, we're having issues with the soil. I've already been on site. I provided Rich and Eric a report based on what I'm seeing. And now we're talking already to the contractor about, where are you at with the specifications and meeting those, and what are we going to end up with when it comes time to respread that soil, right?
And our preference is maybe to bring something like this. Or,
Yeah, I think it is. When I think back to our project at Shepherd's Crook when we built the patio on both the east and the south side, Camosi Construction acted as a construction manager, in that capacity for that project. Again, just overseeing all the different contractors that are on site to make sure that they're doing the work according to the specifications.
try to build some money into the budget, to accommodate something like this. Plus the original plan.
Correct, and that's a great question. We do have a contingency built into the budget. With it being, over a $3 million project budget, I built in an additional $300,000, which is about 10%. I put about 10% on top of the total budget cost, in addition to another small contingency that our landscape architect put on. So I would say we have, about $400,000 of contingency on top of the project. We do expect to utilize, being upfront some of that contingency if there are potential soil problems and we have to truck in either black dirt or when we're doing the parking lot, if it's just too soft to have to bring in some stone. So,
Yeah, that's for unforeseen conditions.
yeah, right. And that's another thing that I was looking at. In the construction budget itself, we do have a handful of different items in the construction budget for this year that we could forego and push into next year if need be. So, for example, we have $115,000 budgeted to redo the parking lot here at the Leisure Center, and we haven't done that yet. And so, if we need to push that into next year, we can do that. And we have about $150,000 in the construction budget for the demolition of the Hedra maintenance building. And again, that's another thing that we can delay into next year, right? So we don't put ourselves in like a cash strapped position.
So right now, without trying to like pin it down to date, what's our projection to
Shiloh Park?
I'm sorry.
That's a good question too, though.
Yeah.
But to the original question about Shiloh Park, which is a good question, they're about They're about 90% through at Shiloh Park. We know we still have the courts and some small punch list items to do to finish Shiloh Park. We're waiting on that contractor, U.S. Tennis Courts, to come in and lay that top acrylic layer on the tennis courts, basketball courts, and everything like that. And then the next item on the agenda is that change order, which we saw. So if you were asking me on Shiloh Park when that would be completed, I would say hopefully before Thanksgiving or Halloween. Yeah, hopefully before Halloween, Shiloh Park will be done. And then for David Park, this is the way, just real early on, because we're probably 10 to 15% into this project right now. But the way that I would see the timing of this going is that, and Rich Scott and I have talked. We don't think that the field will be ready to be seeded this year. So it wouldn't make sense, as Scott has pointed out to us before, to kind of seed this thing in early October. And then as soon as it starts to germinate, we have a frost and all that dies. Right? So I would expect that seeding and everything of the field won't happen until the spring of 2025. But also hope that late spring, early summer, we would have the basketball courts completed, potentially the parking lot completed, and the playground completed. Right? So hopefully the public could use kind of like the front half, the north half, right? While they continue to seed and work on the field and then grow the grass during spring and summer, early fall of 25, the contractor's still growing the grass, and we're testing and making sure everything is moving forward.
Football park, there's a date.
Late summer, early fall, I would say. Yeah.
Will we fund off the field?
Will we fence them off just when they're growing the grass?
Yes.
I would think so.
So
Yeah.
no kid can throw it.
Yeah, and I would also recommend if you're gonna open the park that you do the parking lot binder course. Because you're gonna have other construction traffic coming in, and you don't wanna tear up a finished parking lot, right?
Yeah.
So put it to binder course, and then wait till everybody's done, and then that's the last thing you're gonna finish, when the park is done. So you don't.
Yeah.
There's as Eric alluded to, there's critical things on the soccer field that you gotta think about. Number one is the soil. If you don't have the right soil in there, you're gonna have a very poor field. And the other part is the timing of the seed. Average first frost in this area is around the 15th of October. Right now, their schedule says they're gonna seed it around the 7th of October. So they're knocking right on that door. And it takes 10 to 14 days for Kentucky bluegrass to germinate, which means if it's warm enough and it germinates, as Eric said, and we get a freeze, it's going to kill everything that's done. And then you're going to have to reseed. So we're really going to have to pay attention to the schedule when it gets to that point, and then make a determination if we should look at seeding in the spring instead of this fall.
And I learned that from Scott.
Yeah.
I'm a CPA and a park district guy, not a turf guy. So that was me just regurgitating what he has told me half a dozen times. So that's really the value that he provides.
Questions.
Okay.
Can we like to like make the human those win?
Well, that's
Yeah, I'm not safe side. We're safe.
it's difficult just to kind of make that call like right now, just because in my mind, like the contractor wants to go, right, and get the project done and get paid and do all of that,
Sure.
and that's where Scott's going to come in and help tap the brakes and tell him, but is this done correctly? Make sure these things are done correctly. It's like when you have a contractor in to kind of renovate your house, right? They just want to get done, get out, and get paid.
Yeah.
Right. So.
And they have a subcontractor, in his words, this is the way we've always done it. Well, the way you've always done it doesn't meet the specification, and there's a problem. And it's not their fault, right? They needed somebody who did the estimating and knows the specifications to say, this is how you gotta do it. But they didn't share that information, and now we gotta make it right. And make sure that it's right for the partners. So,
I just used that expression in my line of work. We've always done it that way before. That's not
yeah, those are some of the worst words in the world, right? That's the way we've always done it.
So, were there any questions or concerns?
What do you think?
We don't, there's no action to take tonight with regards to, again, just a meet.
Good stuff.
So I've really been pushing the contractor to give us a schedule. According to specifications, he was supposed to provide one within 14 days of his notice of acceptance. And we just got one yesterday, and it was only a partial schedule. All he covered was the earthwork. For me to be able to really give Eric a solid number for a contract, and we'll have to massage it a little bit. And I think we can. I need to have a full schedule, because I need to know what my role and my amount of time is going to be in the project. So that's what we're working on.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you for this.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you ever have any questions, please, hit Eric up or contact me directly. Whatever, I'll be more than happy to answer it.
Last time, that's okay.
Yeah, and I would expect that, if we do get into an engagement with Scott, this won't be the last time that you'll see, right? We'll ask him to come to board meetings and do progress updates.
Sure. I love taking pictures and love giving reports. I have no problem doing it.
Thank you for your time.
Okay. Oh, absolutely. Glad to be here.
See you in the future.
Yes.
We're welcome to stay or go. We just have a few more items to get through. Tried to put you first so you can head out and then
Yeah.
so
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Scott. Thank you.
Moving on to item number 10, there's the Shuttle Park change order request.
Yes, this is the change order request for Shadow Park that was emailed out to the board on July 25th. Again, according to our purchasing policy, these types of emergency appropriations, the board can approve via email, and then we have to formally approve them. So I think you're all familiar with what this pertains to. The change order request is in the amount of $62,118 over at Shiloh Park. And I think that project, really has been good. This is our first change order in the playground area. The other change order that we had at Shiloh Park was for the courts area, when we had to bring in some additional stone to have a good base for the courts. And so, just as a recap, what this covers, it's the removal of the tree, the installation of the flagpole. Cheryl had requested that the contractor break this out, which is his email that I provided in the packet on PDF page 89. So then he has to remove and reinstall some plantings, add some soil, get the tree stump completely out of there for the flagpole. Install a plaque holder, plaque for Joyce Mason. And then to underground bore for the electric for the lights that will shine up at light.
I've been over it. Yes, I like the idea that they moved down. And, this one, I think we've already done down. My email. I'm seeing. But the future too, I think will be.
Definitely, yeah.
I understand we have to pay for prevailing wages,
Right,
but I want to make sure that we're being reasonable.
right.
The contract is doing work, but also to the parties should pay as far as our budget.
Yep.
Comes out from the budget. I always expect.
Yep.
I hate to without understanding what the work is being
Yep, understood.
we need a motion from the board to entertain the change order.
He was waiting for the official change order to be written up by the landscape architect. My thought would be, and Rich, I don't know what your thought is on this, I would expect that to happen within the next couple weeks. Like, the work to be happening in the next couple weeks.
Figuring on the tree.
Yeah.
Or.
I make a motion to approve the Shadow Park Playground change order request in the amount of $62,000.
Commissioner Carlson?
And we move on to items, executive session.
Yeah, we'll need a motion to go into executive session, and if during that motion, they can read the exact verbiage of why we're going into executive session. I just need you to read. Yeah, so just say that you'd like to make a motion. Mm-hmm.
Motion to go into executive session for the purpose of the board discussing employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of employees pursuant to section 2C1 of the Union
Question.
Carlson?
Aye.
Commissioner
Aye.
Okay.